Base semestrale che cerca di analizzare il comportamento dei consumatori nei diversi paesi. Noi abbiamo iniziato concentrandoci sui principali paesi europei. Il nostro scopo comunque è sempre quello di proporre qualcosa di nuovo e quindi d'accordo con il Silmo quest'anno abbiamo deciso di concentrarci su paesi diversi e in dettaglio gli Stati Uniti, la Cina, la Russia e il Giappone, e abbiamo cercato di capire il comportamento dei consumatori quando vanno e acquistano un occhiale, ma soprattutto abbiamo paragonato questi dati con i dati che avevamo già acquisito in riferimento agli altri paesi europei. Io ho visto chiaramente in anteprima la ricerca e sono sicuro che la troverete interessante perché ci sono veramente importanti spunti e mi auguro che possano anche sostanzialmente tradursi in suggerimenti utili per il vostro business. Adesso lascio la parola al presidente di Silmo, Jean-Philippe Lafont, il quale vi porterà un saluto e poi seguirà la relazione da parte di GFK. Grazie.
Bonjour à tous. En fait, la collaboration entre le Mido et le Silmo continue, ce qui est un bon signe. Ça sera peut-être un bon signe pour l'Europe, puisqu'on est dans une période un peu troublée. Je vous donne rendez-vous pour les prochains résultats au mois d'octobre au Silmo. Voilà. Bonne écoute. Au revoir.
Buongiorno.
Good morning. So welcome to this conference. The collaboration and partnership with Mido is going on, and this is a good sign for Europe, who is going through a difficult time. And so I wish you a profitable work, and I see you in October.
Okay, so good morning to everyone. Thank you, Mr. President Cirillo. Thank you, President Lafont. And here we are for presenting you the fifth wave of our study. And as already said, we are concentrating on these four main countries: USA, China, Russia, and Japan. And we are very excited to present to you which are the results of this survey. Let me just present to you what we have done. We have conducted a quantitative study on consumers, and our huge sample is made about approximately 5,000 consumers. We have at around 1,200, 1,300 consumers per each country. And we have took as reference data, benchmark data, the data coming from the survey that we have presented in Silmo 2016 on 6,000 consumers, conducted in July and August 2016, and the results for sunglasses from Mido 2015, with the fieldwork conducted in the same period, January 2015. Why we have taken this one? Because we would like to compare for sunglasses that are quite depending on season, the same season, so January 2007 and January 2015. Obviously, we were talking about these two main categories. So on one side, we will have optical glasses, frames with corrective lenses, and on the other side, sunglasses without corrective lenses. For each one, we will have the benchmark data. Just a quick reminder. We are talking about consumers. We have seen several data this morning, and now we are on the perception and the subjective evaluation of consumer, and I hope they will be very interesting for you. For us, they have been so. As already mentioned, we will focus on four main countries, and as you can see, we are talking about approximately the half of GDP share. Why we are showing you this? Because we consider very important to keep in mind in order to get through the results and thinking about the macro of the economical scenario. Before starting with the results of our survey, we are showing you which are the growth and the trend taken from the IMF results, in which we say that there is a moderate growth for our main focus countries, so USA, China, Russia, and Japan, with trends that are stable in some cases declining, but very slightly declining. We consider it stable trend, and in a context of moderate growth. Just a few words on the sample. As I have already said, we have approx 1,200 and 1,300 persons interviewed for each country. And as you can see, just a quick information on the average age, because as you can see, we have a lower average age in China and higher in Japan, with a 44% of the interviewee over 56 years old. Why we are saying this to you? Because this is representative of the population of the countries, and this will be very relevant to keep in mind in order to look at the results and understand some of the phenomena that we will present to you. Let's start with the first data. Let me explain to you, and it's a quite crowded chart, but I would like to present it to you. On the first row, you see, on the first line, which is the ownership of any optical product in percentage. What we can notice is we have higher percentage, very high percentage, but the European 5, so the Europe is still a crucial market, absolutely. Nevertheless, also the other countries are relevant. And if you look at Russia, for example, let's discuss for a second about it. We have a 86%, so a higher penetration. And we would like you also to look at this particular market, also in terms of which is the sunglasses penetration and a lower optical glasses penetration. Our hypothesis on this data is due to the fact that on one side, we have a very interesting penetration on sunglasses that it's quite similar to the one we have in Italy and Spain, because in Italy we have it around 64%, and in Spain we have around 67%, so very similar. With a lower penetration of optical glasses, we make an hypothesis that it could be related to the fact that this market structure in Russia is made of low penetration of optician with respect of the population. So this could explain the lower optical glasses. And on the other hand, another interesting data we would like you to see, it's about the penetration of optical glasses in the Asian market, so China and Japan, that could be explained also on the penetration of myopia in these kind of countries. And finally, the 31% of contact lenses in China, that it could be explained also by the fact that in this category, also beauty lenses are included, and these are very used in this kind of market. And so this could explain this 31% data. We have taken a look at the ownership. Now we would like you to consider the usage of the different products. And we made an analysis of the usage of optical glasses with respect to contact lenses. Not in general, but considering the different occasions of usage. And as you can see from this chart and from the second one, we can see that if we stay in home and if we consider in-home activities, alone activities, such as watching TV, reading, domestic work, what we say is a prevalence of optical glasses usage. As far as we go to a different external occasion, situation, contact lenses become increasing in terms of occasion of usage. Probably we can explain this by functional motivation. Well, if I do a manual work, maybe I have to put a mask, and then I can't use my optical glasses. Or maybe I would prefer to drive with lenses, for example, during the evening, because with glasses I have some problem. Anything could explain in terms of functional reason. If we go and consider also the let me say, relational activities, or something in which I go out for have a dinner or even a night out, anything, something like this, or sports activity, contact lenses increases. And we make an hypothesis. It can be explained by two kinds of reasons. The first one, again, functional. Maybe when I'm doing sports, I need to feel free in my movement, but also in terms of relational and also about emotional attitude, where when appearances do matter in some way, contact lenses are still the preferred one. So we consider this a sort of challenging scenario for optical glasses, because some spaces there is white spaces. Optical glasses could become more fashionable, could become even more relevant for me when I'm talking about appearances, when I would like to be at my best. We have talked about ownership, usage, and we would like now you to focus on purchase. Here we have some data, some interesting data on purchase frequency, divided as optical glasses and sunglasses. And we have a couple of interesting data we would like you to focus on. First of all, the differences in the average of frequency. We have a really low frequency, 4.7 years on average in Japan, with the 55% of the sample that change every 4 years or less frequently. So really challenging scenario. On the other side, we have the positive, more positive for us, data from China, in which we have an average of 2.1 years, and the 42 of the respondents that say that change every year. So this could be more interesting and more positive trend. Sunglasses are quite similar in terms of average years. When we talk about which are the purchase drivers for optical glasses and then also for sunglasses, I would like you to focus on the first one. The main drivers that I look for when I choose an optical glasses are advice of a doctor and health aspect, so the healthcare part of the choice, and then some very functional aspects such as price and weight. Something like being beautiful, being fashionable, they are not relevant at the moment. And in the same, when we talk about sunglasses, again, price and weight are still important as drivers, while we have here materials, while the healthcare components are no more present. Still staying on purchase, we have focused on the channel of optician that we will see is a still very relevant channel, and we have already seen this morning. And I would like you to focus, on the fact that, first of all, there are differences, but the picture is quite similar. So if from the healthcare advice, except for Japan, for the specific situation in Japan in which the measurement of sight are made by the doctor, but in the rest of the countries, it's quite a good terms of good ratings. As you can see, we have the lower one here in terms of fashion. So my optician is a Greek consultant when it comes to choosing fashionable eyewear is still low. And also in terms of after-sales services. So there is an opportunity here to improve. In fact, we say which are the reasons, which kind of things I look for when I go to an optician. Besides the fact that, okay, it has to conduct my eye exam, I would like him to advise me on visages, on make me feel beauty, make me feel more acceptable and more comfortable, and also in terms of offer custom frame designing and making services. So again, something that talk about fashion. They talk about make me feel well, make me feel comfortable in any kind of event. I now close my section and let the floor to my colleague Giampaolo for the rest of the presentation.
Thank you, Chiara. Thank you. Thank you very much. So it's interesting to see the data this morning because we got some insights about the European market that is showing that, of course, the market is pretty positive despite sunglasses. And now the last slide presented by Chiara are saying that there are two drivers, basically, for our business, very strong, more or less everywhere. The first one, when we talk about sunglasses or optical frames, so when we talk about the product, one of the most important driver everywhere is price. The second is about the service and the fact that people would prefer to go in an optician because basically the optician measure the visual defects. So my part is about omni-channel, channels, spending, purchase behavior, and so on. So I'm not so surprised to see that, if you remember, we just presented these figures at the Silmo last year, and the market, you see the blue part of the market, it's the digital, the e-commerce business in Europe. This is an average. So I'm not really surprised to see that all the other countries at the moment are not presenting so many differences. And the e-commerce is still around 10% or at least down 10%. That, in comparison to other research that we do on fashion, this is basically really a low figure. But of course, it's mainly related to the fact that we just saw before that we would like to go in an optician to just measure the visual effects, the visual defects. So we need it. Then, about prices. When we go through the data, and I pick up this slide from the report. It's very big, so we're just presenting a selection of slides. But however, you see here that the first line is about the spending. So it means that, for example, in Europe, 60% of people spend money on an optical products in the last 12 months. So not bad. Not bad in comparison to US, where only 50% of consumers spend money on optical products. Very high figures in China, 62, and Russia, 63, and very low for Japan. But we saw before the replacement rate is very different in Japan, more than 4 years. So the picture is clear. That is saying that China and Russia are really dynamic markets, and so good potential. And when we go and see the average spending in those countries per category, it's clear that US and Japan for optical glasses are among those countries are the highest spenders. And in China and Russia are presenting the lowest figures, so around 100 euro for an optical glasses in China, around 50 euro for an optical glasses in Russia. So this is the scenario, and this is important specifically for those companies that would like to enter in those markets and that would like to invest, because in this way you have a clear benchmark where there are major purchases. And the same story more or less for sunglasses, where if we compare the average spending in Europe of around 100 euro and we see all the other figures, it's clear that, for example, in Russia, they are spending a lot, but in terms of numerical figures, but of course the spending is low and below the average. Another note from my perspective is that when we talk about our, let's call it our domestic market, so the European one, because we are at Mido and at Silmo, it's not so bad. We are talking about very, very, very huge economies. At the end, the average spending in Europe is really much higher than other countries. So 270 euro for an optical glasses, and let's say 100 euro for a sunglasses. Different story when we see at the discounts, because this is really a tremendous phenomenon affecting our business. We saw that, we remember that in Europe, 42% of sales happens through discounts, and the average discount for optical glasses is around 28%. So it means that an optician used to discount around 30% of the price. But these figures are changing, and country by country. And look at China. China is saying, so the consumers in China are really expecting discounts. And of course, this is for cultural reasons, but again, half of sales happen through discounts, and the average discount is around 50% of the price. So keep this in mind anytime that you approach the topic in China. Another interesting figure that we got from the study, when we discuss about online and offline purchases, the online purchase in US, the spending on average is higher than the offline. And so again, the mix between the two categories, the two channels, the omni-channel behaviorals are again confirmed, despite the internet is not really growing in our business. And so the last part of this presentation is related to the purchase journey, where we show at the beginning about optical glasses and then about sunglasses, exactly what happened country by country in terms of channels and touch points, in order to support you really to accelerate your business per each country, considering all the differences that we found in the study. So starting from optical glasses, we have US market. It's clear that for optical glasses, the green area is crucial. So we are talking about big chains, optical chains, independents. There is also a portion in blue that is related to the digital business. But as you can see, the first line is about the past purchase, and the line below is about the future purchase. So the expectation is that the internet will not grow in the next future for the category. Interesting also to see, however, that in US, the first touch point, the most important information source is the store. People, to take a decision, want to touch the product in the store. They go in the store, they just would like to see the assortment, and then they would like to have the sales staff advice and so on. This is very, very important. Again, we mix together in the same slide the two information, because for our marketing people, for our sales people, it's important to understand where to deliver and, of course, which investments put in place to really engage targeted consumers. Different story in China, not really, because the green area is always the dominant, so always opticians. In China, we have, and only in China, we have the optical market that is this light green area. We are talking about optical market that are in indoor markets inside the buildings, and it's very interesting, this phenomenon that represents around 10% of sales in China. The online is now at 6%. It is expected to grow, but in China probably is the most complex country for touch points, because in China omni-channel is really there, and as you can see, touch points means opticians, means windows, but means also word of mouth. So we call it social. People would like really to share with other impressions on brands, on products. And we have also a part on internet. Internet represents really the digital. The optical websites represent one of a priority source of information for Chinese consumers. About Russia, we have, and so this is it's also related to what we saw before, that the penetration of optical glasses is not so high. The culture in the market is about the optics is not so evolved. And as a result, you see that consumers answered pharmacies, for example, together with opticians. And we know that you can buy in a pharmacy only ready readers glasses. So these figures are, of course, also affected by the fact that we have got the data from consumers that are not really so expert about the category. But in Russia, again, sales staff in the store, so the training, we just touched this topic before the meeting. Training is crucial. Also, product display in store windows are crucial. So, very similar scenario to the other countries. And Japan, I think, is mainly dominated by big chains. So I think it's pretty clear that when you have to buy a pair of new optical glasses, optical chains represent the most important channel for the category. And again, in-store touch points are crucial. What about sunglasses? Well, sunglasses, keep in mind that we ran the study in December. So December is the low season everywhere because we have Russia, US, China, and Japan. So it means that probably the line below is the one important for our business. Digital, as we remember, is always there, around 11% in US, 10% in China, 12% in Russia, Japan, 10%. So the average is always around 10%. But look at how many colors there are in the slide. So a lot of channels. And so the optician part is the green one, is always there, but in yellow we found department stores, fashion stores. We have also sunglasses specialists, this purple area. And I would say that the internet for sunglasses in US could be an option for the next future, considering that consumers are saying, yes, why not? We would like to invest, we would like to spend online. So the online expectation is about 15%. Clear, very clear, the situation about the best touch point where to invest money. And it's clear that the best one is product display in the store. So be in the store means win the competition in US. China, the China situation is impressive. 20% is expected to be the digital business in the next future in China. Optician chains represent the best channel, the top one channel for the category, followed really by sunglasses specialists. And in this case, the social network, in terms I'm not talking about the platform, I'm talking about the attitude, so the fact that people would like to share information and decision is one of the most important touch points. So this means content, this means invest in social media, produce material that people can really share together in order to decide, to really understand which is the best product available and then buy the product. In China, and this is a picture that we got from a study that we conducted globally. In China, omni-channel is there. Everyone is going offline, is going shopping offline, online. So it's very common. All the population is very much addicted. And when we saw a figure that is showing that the question that we did was, my mobile device, so my smartphone, is quickly becoming my most important shopping tool. Yes, China and India is definitely true. So it means if you would like to penetrate, if you would like to accelerate there, mobile contents are crucial. And look how far away is Europe. If I remember well, in Italy, we have 41% people say, yes, this is true. And in France, only 20%. Again, Russia digital is not expected to grow. On the other side, Sunglasses Specialist is the top channel in Russia. And again, the Russian consumers is again a person that would like to be informed in the store, but also on digital platform. Last but not least, Japan. Japan again, we are expected to, the digital sales are expected to grow by 50% in the next future. And of course, in Japan, the optician chains that were so important for the other category, for the optical glasses category, now are important, but not so much. And we have also fashion store, we have also sunglasses specialists, and of course, everyone is saying that to decide which is the best product, the best way is to touch the product in the store. So, we will conclude this OMO 5 result presentation together today with a couple of comments about the product specification. So, which are the best products to be sold in each country? And we split. On the top we have different materials, and on the bottom we have the style of the frame. And okay, we have Europe as a benchmark. So we remember, we presented this at Silmo, 50% of sales belongs to plastic products in Europe. And more or less the same story in US and in Russia. But when we switch to Asia, we see that it's very important to invest in metal products, on rimless product, and specifically in Asia, you see that half frames and rimless represent around 40% of the market. So have these products in the product portfolio will help for sure the business. And specifically on China, just a couple of comments on this, because this is again a research that we ran last year on fashion, and we asked to Chinese to tell us the top 5 occasions to really invest in willingness to spend in fashion. And it's clear that the main reason is to be confident. So people would like to invest for a date, occasion, for a business, cultural event, for a meeting with client and with business. And so this is important when you design the product for China, because, and this is the last slide, because when we go to how do you describe your fashion style? And we split figures by women and men. Men say mature, calm, masculine, and women said elegant, feminine. And that means really sober products, probably yes, and unconventional and cool is at the bottom of this list. So keep this in mind. Thank you very much, and see you Silmo Paris in October.